Department of the Interior and Local Government is instructing local government units in Cebu and Davao to quickly assess damaged structures in areas affected by the recent earthquakes in their areas. In a statement on Monday, October 13, the agency says that concerned LGUs must undertake rapid structural assessments led by building officials, municipal and city engineers, and other technical personnel. It adds that priority should be given to structures in heavily affected barangays and those reported to have visible cracks, partial collapse, or foundation damage. The DILG likewise instructs the LGUs to inspect tilted or displaced buildings and structures affected by ground fissures, sediment venting, and subsidence before allowing reoccupation. Ground fissures are cracks in the surface rock or soil. Sediment venting is a hazard connected to liquefaction, occurring when sediments behave like a liquid similar to quicksand, while subsidence is the sinking of land. The DILG further says the LGUs must assess residential structures and relocate affected families to temporary shelters if the structures are declared unsafe. The LGUs are also reminded to expedite the processing and issuance of permits for repair or reconstruction works necessary to rectify earthquake-related damage, ensuring compliance with national safety and engineering standards. The department's advisory comes after a magnitude 6.9 earthquake struck off Bugos City, Cebu on September 30 and a magnitude 7.4 earthquake hit off Manay, Davao Oriental on October 10. Based on National Disaster Risk Reduction and Management Council's situational report on Monday morning, at least 74 people were reported dead and over 550 were injured by the Cebu tremor. Meanwhile, a separate NDRRMC report on Monday morning states that the Davao quake left at least 8 people dead and more than 400 injured. The Philippines will protest a China Coast Guard ship's attack on a fisheries vessel off Pag-asa Island last Sunday, October 12. A video issued by the Philippine Coast Guard showed the China Coast Guard ship on Sunday firing a water cannon and hitting the Bureau of Fisheries and Aquatic Resources vessel BRP Datu Pagbuaya. The vessel is one of the agency's 3 vessels providing protection for local fishermen on the Philippines' inhabited island. Philippine Coast Guard spokesperson for the West Philippine Sea, Commodore J. Tariela, says the China Coast Guard and suspected militia vessels sailed dangerously close to the 3 BFAR vessels, then anchored in the waters off Pag-asa and staged dangerous and provocative maneuvers past 8 a.m. on Sunday. According to Tariela, the situation escalated an hour later when the China Coast Guard vessel with bow number 21559 fired its water cannon directly at the Pagbuaya before deliberately ramming its stern, which Tariela says caused minor structural damage. Tariela says nobody was injured during the incident. Department of Foreign Affairs spokesperson Angelica Escalona says the country would lodge a protest against Beijing over its ship's deliberate ramming of the BFAR vessel in the territorial sea of Pag-asa. Meanwhile, the National Maritime Council calls China Coast Guard's illegal and reckless actions a grave concern for the country. According to the Council, China must be sincere and hold true to its call for dialogue and consultation by demonstrating constructive actions and desisting from all provocative actions. Meanwhile, Tariela says the Philippine Coast Guard and BFAR remain resolute and will not be intimidated nor driven away despite China's bullying tactics and aggressive actions. There was no immediate statement from China, which claims virtually the entire South China Sea and continues to ignore a 2016 arbitral ruling that invalidated its claim. A recent survey shows most Filipinos want former President Rodrigo Duterte to be held accountable for deaths linked to the drug war during his administration. Based on a social weather station survey commissioned by the Strat-based group, 50% of the respondents agree that the former president should be held responsible for killings related to the drug war during his term. Meanwhile, 32% of the respondents said they disagree, while 15% were undecided and 4% said they don't know enough about the matter to give an opinion. Per region, the Visayas had the highest support for accountability at 54%, followed by the National Capital Region at 53% and Balanced Luzon at 52%. Meanwhile, Mindanao, which is Duterte's stronghold, showed the lowest support for accountability at 39%. The survey was conducted nationwide from September 24 to 30, 2025, using interviews of 1,500 adult Filipinos. The survey comes as the International Criminal Court recently rejected Duterte's appeal for the interim release. Duterte's legal counsel, attorney Nicholas Kaufman, requested an indefinite adjournment of pre-trial proceedings on August 18, citing that the former president is unfit to stand trial as a result of cognitive impairment in multiple domains. The ICC postponed Duterte's hearing, originally scheduled for September 23, following his camp's request.